Okay, so I've got another David Icke dot connector video, and going to do a bit of a commentary. I've watched a very, very tiny piece of it, and he's talking about the revamping of religion. Let's have a look. The Iran War Deceit, from Biblical Prophecy to 9/11. Okay, so let's have a look what he says, shall we? I'm going to put it on times 100.
Hello. Well, you know, it's getting a bit surreal to see my books, often from decades ago, appearing on the TV news and in podcasts and in newspapers. Now, of course, they're not my books being quoted, but really they are, in terms of what's being said. And the latest is something I've been pointing out over the years, that Israel and what's called Christian Zionism will be using current events and claiming that they're fulfilling biblical prophecies. Now, you will have heard Benjamin Netanyahu endlessly quoting from the Old Testament to justify what he's been doing in Gaza. And they're now taking it onto another level of complete correlation between events that they're making happen and what they claim are events that their God is making happen.
Now, David Icke, obviously, he's doing okay, and his business, Iconic, which basically is run and has been created by his extended family, his two sons and their families. They do all the technical bits, and they are podcasters in their own right. And what they're doing, they are defending, trying to protect and inform all of the shit kickers in the street, which is it's a good business move, because that's where the main body of the revenue is going to come from. It's going to come from the shit kickers who are going to be buying his books, because it's about the reveal and the dream and the trap and the roadmap and all these answers that nobody's ever going to do fuck all about. Absolutely nothing. No one is ever going to make any changes to the way the world is. Even if they were millions, because the powers that be are too powerful and they just don't give a fuck. And so David Icke has got himself a nice little business, and he can buy himself some nice fluffy Shetland fucking wool pullovers, and that's his job. Me, on the other hand, I don't defend, I don't try to build up and protect the shit kicker in the street. I want actually them to suffer. I want Netanyahu and all his boys to do whatever they want to do, and to have complete mastery over the pleb and put them under the yoke and cull them and all that. Why? Well, why not? Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it. There's enough plebs like Ike around. Oh, they're trying to do this to us. All this victim mentality. Well, I don't have a victim mentality, and so why would I? Oh, they're doing this to us. No, they're not doing anything to me. They've never, ever been doing anything to me. They just simply haven't. Look at me now, for the past 17 years, just living like a king. Better life than fucking anyone I can think of on the fucking planet. Doesn't matter how wealthy they are. I've got a better life, because every single second of every single day belongs to me. And I can do with it whatever I want, and I do. And it's beautiful. Spit it out, man.
It just so happens that there is this greater Israel project in which Israel wants to expand its location, its land,
Why wouldn't it?
to the full extent of what they claim Abraham, evidence for his existence, zilch, was told by God, evidence for that happening ditto, that he was giving to what have become known as Jewish people the extent of the land from the Euphrates in Iraq to the Nile in Egypt.
Well, okay, at least they've got a story. At least they've got some sort of an excuse. What excuse did Britain have for conquering and stealing a third of the world? What excuse did Alexander the Great have? What excuse did the Romans have? What excuse did Genghis Khan have? You know, what excuse did the Hun have? Come on, Ike. Everybody does it. It's all up for grabs. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Well, why are you picking on the you-know-whos?
To also encompass the lands of Jordan, the lands of Lebanon, and part of the land currently occupied by Syria, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia.
Good, because all those countries are filled with people you just wouldn't want ruling the world. So someone's got to take mastery over them and crush them in any which way. And so thank goodness, thank God, thank Abraham, thank Yahweh for the Jews. Because if it wasn't for the Jews, well, I think we'd be a bit inundated by the fuckers now, because there's no backbone anywhere else in the world. Praise the Jews, that's what I say.
And also part of this biblical prophecy, prophesied by God, bullshit, is to replace the mosque, the big golden dome Islamic buildings on what Jews and Christians call Temple Mount in Jerusalem, with a third, quote, Solomon's temple. And I've said in previous videos just how far along the road they've got with that. And people may have thought at one time, what you're saying, they want to replace the mosque, the big Alaska mosque, with a new Solomon's temple. There'd be a bloodbath. Yeah, they would have been once. But now look at Gaza and look at the West Bank and how that's being taken over, and the Muslims being
Israel
brought under the jackboot. Suddenly, it becomes possible. And not by accident. And not by God, by the way. Funnily enough, staggers back in amazement. And the point is,
if there's going to be rulers, which there is, and there always has been, well, don't you think that we need to be rooting for the better of two evils? Now, one particular variety and creed, they are absolutely adamant they're going to take over the whole world, and if they ever did, it would be vastly worse than anything the Third Reich would have implemented. And so you only have to read their disgusting literature, their disgusting religious books, and listen to their disgusting rhetoric to know how their world would be. Vastly more hideous and sick than anything that our friend Adolf would have implemented, and vastly more hideous and sick than anything that the Jews would implement. And so any of you that, oh yes, Israel's this and the Jews are that, you don't know you're fucking born. Because if it wasn't that way around, well, you'd all be under the fucking sword by now. You'd all be getting one slipped in the back passage, and all your women will be confiscated from you, and all the dogs on the world will be killed, and man's best friend, you. Oh, goodness me, get your heads around it, people. Get your fucking heads around it. So what is Ike actually doing? He's defending that. Basically, he's saying, I've never heard him say a single thing against the swarthy folk. All the swarthy folk are doing this and the swarthy folk want to do that. No, not a single word. It's always about the Jews, the Jews, the Jews, and the lizards. I can't stand you, Ike, you liberalist little punk-ass bitch. You're a fucking Islamic punk-ass bitch.
that if you look at the number of Jewish people in the world, in totality, not just talking about these psychopaths running Israel, talking about the totality of Jewish people, many of which oppose the psychopaths running Israel, the numbers are ridiculously small. I mean, we're talking about, what, 15, 17 million Jewish people in the world, officially?
Oh, yeah, they're the only
out of
ones with
a
brains, David.
apparent 8+ billion.
Yeah, without
So
brains.
somehow the psychopaths running Israel on behalf of another force in the background,
All the lizards.
they have to find massive support for what they're doing. And so you have a Bible that
Well, why do they have to find massive support if they are ruling the world and the lizards are ruling the world? So the lizards are getting the you-know-who's to do the lizardish work. And so, well, why do they have to find massive support if they've got all this power, David? That's what I want to know. I think I've just found another flaw in your hypothesis, mate.
is Old Testament fused with New Testament. One is the Jewish.
Look, either the Jews run the world or they fucking don't. Which is it? Icke's been saying for 35 years the Jews run the world. And now they're going, oh, they're crying out for support and they've got to have support. Well, support from who? Support from where? You know, is it the pleb in the street? Well, if the pleb in the street support them, well, great. What's the fucking problem? If it's big business and trillionaires and governments that support them, what's the problem? They're all supported by the people. They're all voted in by the people. And even if they're not, the people don't give a fuck because they're too fast asleep. What is the problem? I don't know what the problem is, David. You know, is there really a problem? Or have you just got to find something to whinge about and write your stupid sugar paper fucking nasty print books? I think that's probably it, really, mate.
Jewish story, as claimed, and the other is the Christian story, as claimed. But because they're in the same book, Christians have to believe the Jewish story in the Old Testament, and somehow they have to overcome the gigantic contradictions.
Oh, by the way, let me just talk about one of Icke's books, this one, The Dream. I just fucking bought one of them once upon a time, and it's the cheapest and the most nastiest book that I've got on my bookshelf. And one thing about how Icke has his books printed is that they're printed like this, whereby the text hasn't been equalized. So you've got these different endings here. You know, it's not all symmetrical. And the paper is sugar paper. It's the cheapest shit that you could ever buy. Let me just get you another book in comparison to show you. So here is another book, and this is What the Fuck Are You Thinking? Philosophies of an Ordinary Man. This one, and when you open it, you see how it's all finished off like this, because what they do is they very, very slightly adjust the distance of each word to make it equal down one side. Icke is the only publisher I've ever found that does that, and it's just pretty crap. Obviously, it's much more pleasing to the eye and symmetrical when you've got it just arranged in that way. And then you feel this paper, and this paper's nice and smooth, and it's white, whereas Icke's books are fucking yellow and rough. It's like a fucking tree, in actual fact. You see that? You see the difference? Yellow fucking nasty paper, and then proper paper. So Icke's books really shit and cheap, and yet they are priced marginally higher than other books. So anyway, that's just one thing, and I read that in about fucking 2 hours, just fucking, just David Icke, just skipping over the fucking top for the pleb because the pleb can't go deep. And I've not read any of his other books, but I'm pretty sure it's all very, very elementary and very, very superficial, and there's nothing really deep in any of them. Because the idiot can't fucking read deep. The idiot doesn't have the constitution for that. The idiot only has the constitution for comics, and that's why Ike, even all the book fronts like that, they're just all like nasty AI generated, fucking faded out. They're not even fucking high pixelated, just fucking nasty, and the whole book is light as fuck. Oh my god, don't get me started.
Between the nature of the Old Testament God and what is claimed to be the nature of the New Testament God. The Old Testament God being a bloodthirsty psychopath, which is why Netanyahu quotes him so often. So how do they do that? Well, you invent something called Christian Zionism. You equate the ambitions of Zionism, which is a political philosophy. It's nothing to do with Jewish people in general, in the sense that many Jewish people oppose Zionism. And as many American politicians, including Joe Biden, have said, you don't have to be Jewish to be a Zionist. No, you just have to believe in what Zionism stands for and what Zionism wants to impose upon that land in the Middle East. But you have to invent this thing called Christian Zionism, and because of the Christians in general belief system in the Bible, which includes the Old Testament, you can pull a lot of Christians in as well who are not kind of overtly the Christian Zionist mentality, because you pull them together in the belief that God is making current events happen, leading to the end times and Armageddon, when Jesus will come back to rule the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have this story from this week in a mainstream publication in Britain, the Daily Mail. Headline: Trump's commanders tell troops to prepare for Jesus' return and issue chilling Armageddon prophecy. Straight off the pages of my books way back. Donald Trump's commanders have been accused of telling troops that the war with Iran is part of God's plan for Armageddon. The Military Religious Freedom Foundation, the MRFF, a non-profit civil rights watchdog, said it has received 110 complaints from troops since the war broke out with Iran. The complaints team span more than 40 different units across 30 military sites. First reported by veteran journalist Jonathan Larson's Substack, a non-commissioned officer, or NCO, wrote to the organization and said that his combat unit commander had claimed Trump was, wait for this, quote, anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to Earth. Let me get this right.
Well, on the face of it, you think, oh, Trump thinks he's Jesus. I think I'm Jesus. Well, actually, I know I'm Jesus. What is Jesus? Just a metaphor, just an energy, just a level of consciousness. That's what Jesus is. An energy of righteousness, of intelligence, of cosmic wisdom, and all that sort of thing. So where's the wrong in that? Where's the wrong in anyone thinking that they are kind of like Jesus-like? Krishnamurti was very Jesus-like. All prophets and gurus are very Jesus-like. They are spreading what they would consider to be the good word. So what's not Jesus about that? Why can't people be this Jesus? I mean, Jesus is just a metaphor. Whether the Yeshua ben Joseph ever actually existed or not, Jesus Christ isn't a figure, it's an idea, Ike. And so why can't Trump embody an idea, the Christian idea? Why can't he do that? In defense of what's happening all over the world, it needs to be crushed. This uprising of swarthy folk needs to be crushed. And so Trump is, in my mind, he very well may be wearing the Messiah's cloak, and good for him. Now, when you look at world leaders, invariably, most certainly in the Western world, they have always said that they are anointed by God. They take their positions of authority over the minions via God. God instructed them to do that. And so this is what happened in the biblical times. God chose the people. And then, of course, all the people who chose them, their descendants then have the right to rule. So that hierarchical system has been around for 2,000 years. And so what's the problem with that, Ike? Who do you want to rule the world? Those swarthy folks that like sticking it up your bum? Oh, I don't know about you. I think you're a bit of a... I don't know. I think you're a bit sus, Ike. You might be a fudge packer.
Jesus will only return after Armageddon. Yep, makes sense.
Is it here? No, is it here? There it is. Continue, Ike.
This was all part of God's divine plan. Here you go. And he specifically referenced numerous citations out of the book of Revelation referring to Armageddon and the imminent return of Jesus Christ. The Pentagon, says the Daily Mail, did not immediately respond to requests for comment. But we have a little clue. In fact, we have a few. It goes on to say, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, a born-again Christian, actually a born-again moron in charge of the Department of War, holds monthly prayer meetings at the Pentagon and attends a weekly Bible study at the White House led by a preacher who argues that God blesses those who support Israel. Oh, beam me up, Scotty. It's bloody mad down here. Oh, then there's this lady. Trump's longtime spiritual advisor. Ooh, that's a job and a half, isn't it? How do you spiritually advise someone with no spirit? Oh, difficult. Anyway, her name's Paula White. She's made similar claims for decades that I've just described, urging Christians to stand with Israel. And then there's Pastor John Hagee. I don't know if you've ever come across this bloke. I have, unfortunately, for a very, very long time. And if there's life on John Hagee, I have yet to see the evidence, especially anything happening here. Anyway, he's visited the White House multiple times during Trump's first term. He told his congregation that the war with Iran signaled we are nearing the end times. Armageddon! Right. Prophetically, we're right on cue, Hagee said. Sirens are wailing and prophecies written thousands of years ago. By who, Mr. Hagee? In what circumstances? Thousands of years ago, are stepping onto the world stage. And then there's US Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. He is basically in the John Hagee arena of bonkers. And he's claimed that Trump would receive a message from God shortly before the strikes on Iran. This is last June, when they obliterated Iran's nuclear capability, but then decided, oh, no, we didn't. Well, we did, because I'm never wrong, says Trump. But they're making it happen again. Oh, yeah, okay. Anyway, quote, I believe you will hear from heaven, Huckabee said. And that voice is far more important than mine or anyone else's, he wrote to Trump. You did not seek this moment. The moment sought you. Yes, it did. Because the global cult said Trump's the guy to have in the presidency when we want it all to kick off. Now, to give you a flavor of these people, it's not a pleasant flavor, but it is a flavor. This is Trump's spiritual advisor, Paula White. And there are people in straitjackets for less.
Wherever I go, God rules. When I walk on White House grounds, God walks on White House grounds. I had every right and authority to declare the White House as holy ground because I was standing there, and where I stand is holy.
To say no to President Trump would be saying no to God. And they're not going to do that.
We are in a spiritual war right now. Let every demonic network that has aligned itself against the purpose, against the calling of President Trump, let it be broken, let it be torn down in the name of Jesus. You want me to tell you what my thoughts are? The thoughts of the King of Kings, the thoughts of the Lord of Lords. I'm downloading heaven. Hey!
Go, girl.
You see what I mean. Anyway, we are seeing now.
Well, what do you want? What do you want? You want fucking Allah Akbar screaming from every fucking corner? Do you want complete and utter fucking curfew with women expressing themselves or revealing flesh? And do you want fucking muppets walking around with 50 fucking wives and you've got none? Do you want all this fucking back entering of young boys because that's their thing? Is that what you want? Well, that's the alternative, mate. What do you want voting? What are you voting for, bro? What are you voting for?
Selling human created, manipulated events, not least the war with Iran, presented as God's prophecy playing out. And here's another Mail article: 4 biblical signs the world has entered the end of days as US bombs Iran. As war between the US, Israel, and Iran intensifies, some biblical scholars and Christian commentators are warning that ancient prophecies about the end of the world may be unfolding in real time. Well, they're not being delivered by God, or not the God that Christians and Jews think they're worshiping.
Being delivered by big.
According to a quote from Jesus in Matthew 24:6-7, in the New International Version of the Bible, quote, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom."
Woo!
Right.
Let's hear it.
Cast your mind back across human history, or human history as we perceive it anyway. And how many times in that history, First World War, Second World War, I rest my case, could it be said that you will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Oh, I think that might fit the 2 world wars, and I think it might fit many other wars throughout known human history. But now it's being used to justify current times, to bring in.
Yes, okay. There are many wars in human history which had absolutely nothing to do with the Christian and Islamic thing going on now. And so, well, what did it have to do with? It had to do with human beings. Human beings are evil. They have evil running through every single one of their hearts. And so they love to kill. They love to perpetrate anything which causes pain, suffering, and hardship. That's just what human beings do. So why are you picking on the odd one here and there, David? Why don't you just start looking at the pink ape, the verminous cretins in their masses, which are all around you, the ones that are going, Trump, Hillary, Allah Akbar, and or whatever they're doing. Whatever they're doing, why don't you turn it around and order the napalm, the fire and the brimstone down from the cosmos to destroy humanity on a whole and start again? That's the real Armageddon, David. That's the one I'm vouchsafing. That's the one I'm calling down. That's the vision of glory that I have in my mind, when every single pink ape except me and a few others, let's say, how many do we need? 500 million, yeah, let's say 500 million, and the rest of them can be destroyed. Oh, wouldn't that be good? Well, as long as I've got, like, you know, my beer bottlers and chicken packers and computer technicians and plumbers and electricians and microphone makers. Well, as long as we've got those, I'll be happy.
The Christian support for what the lunatics running Israel want to impose. And there's another one here, before I get on to the wider Iran conflict. The first of these apocalyptic prophecies revolved around one theologian's 5-3, or 5-3, written by the Apostle Paul. Now, as I've laid out in my latest book, The Roadmap, there was no Apostle Paul, just invented, like great chunks of the Old Testament and so much of the New. So this Apostle Paul, who actually didn't exist,
well, nor do you, David.
warned that, quote, while people are saying...
Or do you? You're just a figment of your own consciousness. You don't exist. Nothing exists. So why are you picking on the Apostle Paul? What's wrong with you? You know, why don't you just look at quantum physics? And there's no physical matter here, mate. It's all a dream. So why are you getting all your old fucking knickers in a twist? Goodness me, just chill out. People should just chill the fuck out. It's all a dream. It's just a dream.
In peace and safety, destruction will come on them suddenly. I wonder if the people under the atomic bombs in Nagasaki and Hiroshima might have been talking and thinking about peace and safety when destruction came on them suddenly. And endless other examples throughout human history. Was that God? Or the God that people think they're worshipping? And the second sign involved the nearby country of Syria and the prophet Isaiah, that's the guy who's got one eye higher than the other, who said, quote, Damascus will no longer be a city, but will become a heap of ruins. Well, I mean, it's been a heap of ruins in civil wars and such like, and manipulated attacks by terrorist groups supported by Israel and the United States before now. But of course, Syria is now headed by a terrorist, a former Islamic terrorist, I say former, who Trump thinks is great.
Whatever. All I can say is as long as all those swarthy folk are brought massively under the yoke, I think we'll all be a bit happier, to be honest with you. And we won't have to listen to the screaming fucking lunatics crying out, Allah fucking Akbar. All right, so go Israel. That's all I can say.